Good morning, everybody. Hello, welcome. Good morning, Daily Doses. Hope you are all well. Dr. Chip's here. It's Tuesday. It's 10 o'clock, which means it's Computational Thinking Tuesdays. And welcome back after our weekend off. Hope you had a lovely weekend. And thank you for tuning in this morning. If we've got anybody joining us for the first time this morning, welcome and welcome back to the regular Daily Doses. This is how things work. We're going to be doing a computational thinking Barefoot activity this morning, because each Tuesday we do computational thinking with Barefoot computing. Tomorrow I'll be live again at 10 with Wonder Wednesday in association with the Great Science Share, and we are looking at habitats tomorrow and biomimicry as well, which I struggle to say. I've been practicing saying it, biomimicry. I'm still biomimicry. I think the more I'm saying it, the harder it is. Anyway, it's about when we look at nature and we get an inspiration from nature for our designs as engineers. Really cool one coming tomorrow. And then Thursday, tinker like it's Thursday. This week I've gone for it. You know how much I love aeroplanes, and we are going to make the official world's best paper airplane. This paper airplane we are going to make on Thursday holds the record for the furthest distance ever flown. It's in the Guinness Book of Records for a paper airplane. Happened back in 2012. Hasn't been broken since, but you never know. Maybe one of you Daily Doses out there can break the world record with the world record setting paper airplane. So that's what's coming up this week. Really exciting week. So today, before we do anything else, I'm going to jump onto the computer and share your showcase blog entries from last week. Last Thursday, we did instant ice cream. We used science in probably one of the coolest ways possible, because we used science to make ice cream in a very short amount of time. We learnt about how when you apply salt to ice, it actually lowered the freezing temperature, meaning that the ice then started to melt, and to melt, it pulled all the heat energy out of our chocolate flavoured, or whatever flavour you used, milk, and it froze it into sort of ice cream mixture almost instantly. And that also, the science that we learned about, excuse me, explains why in the winter months you might see people, the councils spreading salt onto the roads, because it prevents the roads from freezing. And you sent me in your pictures of your ice cream. I also pointed you on to a Daily Doses blog, Lexi, who has a fantastic website blog with recipes that she makes and puts up. And she specially put a easy to do ice cream recipe on her blog as well. And some of you went onto that blog and made that ice cream as well and sent photos of that, which is awesome. So I'm going to share those first of all. If you want to get your work onto the Showcase blog, all you have to do, I'm going to go wrong way. Yeah, if you want to get it on the Showcase blog at my website here, you need to email it to this email address. Most important thing though is don't have pictures of your faces in it, because we can't put it up if you've got pictures of your faces in. But send me pictures of the work or your hands working on things or anything like that. Just don't have pictures of your face. Right, so let's jump on to the Showcase blog and have a look at instant ice cream from Thursday. So first of all, a huge well done to Amber and Lexi. Now, Mum said that they, now let me get this right. Is that the, yes, I'm just remembering. So Amber and Lexi, you did a fantastic job. You followed the instructions exactly. You produced the ice cream, but we think maybe your inner bag was permeable. It allowed some of the salty water mix in, and unfortunately it had a rather salty taste to it. So it wasn't as enjoyable as you'd hoped, or actually not enjoyable at all. So well done though for following the instructions and all of the learning that's happened there, because I know that you had a conversation with your mum about how that salt mixture might have ended up into that inner bag, and the idea that some things can be permeable, let liquids or other matter through them. So well done to you. And we've also got Sammy. Sammy, well done to you. So here we can see his smaller bag ready to go into his larger bag there with the salt and ice mixture. And after just a few minutes, he had chocolate flavoured ice cream to enjoy. But that wasn't enough for Sammy. Oh no, so Sammy went on to Lexi's blog, and I've left the link there, and he followed Lexi's recipe and made himself some beautiful banana ice cream as well, and he said that was delicious. So thank you for making both of them there, Sammy, and that does look lovely. I love bananas. Isabel and Austin. This is not what Isabel and Austin look like, but they sent pictures in, and I hope you don't mind, but I've covered your faces up there with those stars, just because, as I was saying before, we can't have pictures of you on there. But you sent in pictures of you making ice cream in the sunshine, and I think there was an emoji in the email with the drooling emoji, how lovely it was. And it does look lovely. You've made a lot as well. You must have turned your whole yazoo into ice cream. Well done to both of you. And there we go. Reggie said it was so nice, he didn't even manage to get a photo of it before they'd all eaten it. Well done to you, Reggie. I'm glad that it was that yummy. And finally, we've got Inez here as well, enjoying her ice cream. That looks lovely as well. Inez, you didn't actually say, is that my instant recipe or is that Lexi's instant recipe? Let me know. So well done to everybody who followed along on Thursday and shared that. Also want to say a shout out to Ashton, because I didn't know who it was who'd sent this crystal flowers in, and you let me know that it was you, and it is fantastic. So now I've got your name next to it on the blog as well. So well done to you. Okay, let's come back to me here. Okay, so well done to all those people. Also, well done to James, who emailed me in from Leicester, who also said that they'd tried Lexi's ice cream recipe and that it was far nicer than mine. Fantastic. Maybe some salt got into your one as well, but well done, James, for trying both of them. And then the next thing we're going to do this morning, quickly, before we crack on with our investigation experiment activity, is the register. So if you aren't able to send in any work for whatever reason, but you still want to shout your name to have a shout out, let me just set this up on here so I can keep an eye on things. There we go. If you want a shout out, very happy to. Just email me in and say you'd like to go on the register. This morning's register, we have Dave and George. Good morning to you both. We have Abdullah and Mustafa. Good morning to you. And we have Nancy. And I hope you have a lovely day as well, Nancy. She emailed me first thing this morning and said, good morning, Dr. Chips. Have a lovely day. How lovely is that? So I hope you have a lovely day as well. Right, okay, super. We'll come back to this sheet at the end because I've also got to reveal who managed to get the riddle correct from last week. Just a reminder, the riddle was, what has a trunk and... Oh, I've got to get this right. What has a trunk and branches... No, got it wrong. What has branches but no trunk or leaves? That was it. What has branches but no trunk or leaves? Have a think as we're going through, and I will share at the end who got it correct and the riddle for today. Right, okay, so today's Daily Dose is called The Diamond because we have a new Barefoot home learning game called The Diamond, and I'm going to show you where you can access it. And the idea of today's session is to do some training for you ready to play the diamond. because in the diamond game, you are an agent who has to go and retrieve the world's biggest diamond, which has been stolen and being held captive. Can you hold something captive if it's not alive? I'm not sure whether that's right. But anyway, being held captive by Dr Mischief. And Dr Mischief has secured his layer with number sequences, codes in a sense, and you have to crack them in order to retrieve the diamond. So we're going to do a bit of a training session and remind ourselves of some of the computational thinking skills that we use when we're tackling problems like that. Because if you remember, each week in our computational thinking Tuesday, we have been practicing our computational thinking skills, which are problem-solving skills that we can use in computing lessons, but we can use them in maths lessons or English lessons or in science as well. We've looked at all of them so far. Logic, where we did logic puzzles. Evaluation, when we're evaluating, making judgments on how well we've done. So remember, you made your own PE routine for that one. Oh, by the way, I keep forgetting to say, if you are new to tuning in, all of the old doses are on the website as well. So if you go to the website, and at the top it says past doses, you can watch all of them back now. We've got weeks and weeks of them now, it's fab. So we did algorithms, we learned about algorithms being a sequence of instructions, we did crazy characters, feels like a long time ago now. Patterns, looking for patterns in things, we're going to be using that one today. Decomposition, breaking things down into smaller chunks, and abstraction was about focusing on what's important. So we've been looking at those and we're going to recap some of these in our agent training session today to make you a better code breaker so you can then go and play the diamond game and crack those number sequences. But, and it's a big but, before we do that, I thought I would give you a quick history lesson as well on a person who is a very famous code breaker and someone who also, without them, you might not be able to be watching me now on a computer. Does anybody know who it is that we might be doing a short history lesson on? Famous code breaker. Oh, can I hear some people saying it? Yes, it is this chap here, who is Alan Turing. Yes, okay, Alan Turing. Let's do, because Alan Turing is probably one of the most famous code breakers, and he has a very, very strong link to computers. So let's just talk a little bit about him before we get onto the diamond. And I'm going to show you, it's a little bonus activity today, which I hadn't put in the description, but I just thought about it and I didn't want to miss the opportunity. We're actually going to make our own encoding and decoding machine. So Alan Turing, let me just explain a little bit about Alan Turing. He was a mathematician. He went to Cambridge University to study maths. He was a very, very clever young man. And he went there in about 1930, before 1936. Because in 1936, when he was at Cambridge, he wrote a paper. And a paper is like, when you're at university and you're working with professors and doctors and stuff, a paper is the way you present your work. So say in school you present your work, you might make a poster with it, or you might make a PowerPoint presentation, or you might do a piece of drama to present what you have learned. In universities you would write a paper. So it's like a shorter book. And he wrote this paper, and basically his paper, this is in 1936, it set out pretty much all of the science of computers. So what then became computer science. So before this, we didn't have computers, okay, in the sense that we have them now. He was the one that actually wrote this paper and set out the ideas of the science of how computers would work. And oh, did I mention what country he's from? He went to Cambridge University, but he's from England. Okay, he's English. And then in 1939 to 1945, he went to work at a place called Bletchley Park. Now, Bletchley Park, I was really fortunate. Earlier this year, no, late last year, I went to Bletchley Park because there's a museum now there. And at Bletchley Park is where lots of people work together to crack the the codes for German communications in the Second World War. So in the Second World War, he was there, and I've actually got a picture of Bletchley Park here. This is from September, where a group of the code breakers, or everyone that worked at Bletchley Park, there's Bletchley Park in the background, all got together as a kind of reunion, celebration of the work that they did there. So you see a lot of them are women. The code breakers and the people that worked there were women during the war, and that's where Alan Turing was based as well. And the reason he went there is because he was tasked, as I was saying, with cracking the German codes, that the way they encoded their messages. We could pick up their messages, but we didn't know what they said. It just looked like a load of gobbledygook, because we didn't know what cipher they were using to encode them, and a cipher is just an algorithm. Okay, let me give you an example of this. So, for example, let's go to table 1 here. Okay, imagine that we picked up this message here. We can pick this message up, no problem. They were able to actually pick up the communications transmitting via radio waves, no problem. They could get it, but it was in code. And his job and the jobs of the other people there were to work out how to decode them, decrypt them. And to do that, they'd have to work out what was the algorithm, the cipher that they were using to encode it. Now, I'll give you a second or so. Have a look at this. Any ideas you might have, say them out loud to your brother or sister, or to your teddy or cat or anyone, or just to yourself. Have you got any ideas, if you were a code breaker, what might you try to crack this code here? I'll give you another 5 seconds or so. Any ideas that you might have? Okay, so let's talk about this. So we've got this code here. Not too sure, but I had a little bit of a think earlier. Well, actually, I know what it is because I encoded it. And I've got here my cipher. So this is the algorithm which explains how I encrypted or encoded my message. And let me just show you the algorithm. See if any of you were close here. Here's the algorithm, okay, the cipher. I said that it's A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2, C is equal to 3, and I just carried on like that. So I turned every letter into a number using this number system. Now here, the cipher is a set of rules to explain how to encrypt. It also, once you've got the cipher, you can then decrypt the message. So let's have a go at this. So 4 is D, 1 is A, 9, I, 12 is L. You might start to get an idea of what this says. 25 is Y. Oh, we've got daily, okay, and then we've got D15, 19. Look at this. Daily dose. There we go. Okay, so with the cipher, you are able to encrypt it and decrypt it. But if you don't have that, it can be very difficult to work out what that message says. So all of the people at Bletchley Park, including Alan Turing, their job was to crack these codes, work out basically what the cipher was so that they could decrypt them. Now, the machine that was encrypting the German messages is this, the Enigma Machine, okay? And the Enigma Machine was a lot more complicated than its cipher was a lot more complicated than this cipher, okay? And one of the tasks that I want you to do is I want you to go and find out today and email me how many different possible settings there were for the code on the Enigma machine, okay? Because what happened with the Enigma machine is every time it was used, it set a new setting, so the cipher changed, okay? So there were just a colossal number of possible settings. So lots of people thought it was impossible to crack, and humans just working with pen and paper hadn't been able to crack it. So the thing that Turing is really famous for is that he actually invented or worked with a team to invent a machine. It's not that way, is it? It's that way. A machine to crack the German Enigma. This is called the bomb machine. And this bomb machine was able you fed it some of the message and it would crack the Enigma code. Even though there were all of these settings, and I'm not going to tell you how many possible different code settings there were, because I want you to find that out and email in to me. But this machine used logic, and it worked its way through different possible settings until it outputted a possible cipher, okay? So, and the really cool thing is that the work that Turing was doing here was starting to produce what was potentially the world's first computer. This machine and his ideas around how machines and computers could do things led on to the development of one of the first computers. That was after the war at Manchester University, hey, in Manchester, where I'm transmitting from through my computer. He then came up with this design. You know, he'd obviously been thinking about it whilst he'd been doing this, and he'd already published the paper on the theory of computer science. He'd made the bomb. Then he produced in 1946 another paper on the design for the sort of the first modern computer, and then a team at the university made the baby computer, and then it all goes on from there. Okay, so short history lesson for you this morning on this amazing person, Alan Turing, who broke the Enigma code by building the bomb, which was like an early first computer at Bletchley Park. And I'm going to bonus activity for us this morning is that on Bletchley Park's website, they actually give you a download where you can make your own little simple machine which encrypts. So this is like the Enigma machine that the Germans had that encrypted messages into code. So it's more tricky than the cipher that we've just done. So I have put a link on the web page. Let me show you where that is. Actually, I'll do that in a second, because then I'll also show you how to get to the diamond game. But all you do is you download this template. There's a second page with the download as well, with the instructions, but I've just printed off the first page here. And what you do is on the larger wheel, you write the letters of the alphabet around the outside in capital letters. And then on the smaller wheel, you do the same, but in lowercase. F, G, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. You can practice your alphabet at the same time. And then you cut the two wheels out. Now, if you have a split pin, you can then combine these. I don't, but I'm not going to worry about that because it doesn't really make any difference to using it. You just need to make sure that you keep your wheels together. Okay, so there's the smaller one. Now this is called a Caesar wheel, and it's one of the oldest, what they call substitution ciphers, because it substitutes each letter in your message into another letter. And with this cipher, if you want someone to be able to decode it, they need to know your cipher settings in a similar way to they were trying to work out the settings of the Enigma machine. Right, chuck that down there. So what you then do is, as I say, if you've got a split pin, it can go through there and then it can just spin a little bit easier, but you don't need one. Okay, what you can then do, if we have a message or something that we want to encode, so I'm going to say I'm going to encode Alan Turing. Okay, you choose a cipher setting. So if it was set with A on the outside and A on the inside, we don't have what we call an offset there. It's just set at 0. A equals A. But that wouldn't be a very good way to encode the message because it would come out with each letter equaling the same still. So what we do is we do an offset. So I'm going to turn this through 1, 2, 3. Okay, like so. And now you can see on the outside is we look up the letter of what we are trying to encode, and then we write underneath it the letter on the inside. So can you see that A has now become X? L, where's L, has become I. A has become X again, so I've already said that. N, let me just make sure I've got, is K. T, where's T, is Q. And look, there's no way anyone would get this. U, U is R. R is O. I is F. N is, where's N? N is K. You've done that one as well. And G is D. Okay, so now I don't want to move that. Okay, we have our encoded message. Okay, this would be our encoded message for Alan Turing when we have a cipher setting of an offset of, what did I say? 3. Okay, offset equals 3. Now, if I change the offset on my cipher wheel, it would give us a different encoded message for the same starting message. So can you see with this, if you make this, and if you make a couple to use with other members of your household, you can encode messages, and then as long as they have one of these and they know what the setting is that they need to set it to, then they can decode it. Okay, so they need to know, they need one of these, then they need to know, right, I need to set it at an offset of 5, whatever it is, and then they can decode it. So go and have a go with that as well. Now with this, obviously there's only 26, but we can't have A equals A, so 25 different possible settings. Okay, so if you really wanted to crack the code, you'd have to sit there and try every different setting, 25 different settings to find the one that worked. So this has got 25 different settings. Remember, try and find out for me, because it's an incredible number, how many different possible settings there were on the Enigma. Right, so there we go. There's a bonus activity and a short history lesson about the wonderful man Alan Turing and all of the team, what they did at Bletchley Park. Now let's recap on the number sequences and how you are going to then crack Dr Mischief's number sequence codes when you play the diamond. Let me just show you where you access the diamond. So let's come on to here. So on home, if you scroll down, okay, here's the Caesar wheel from Bletchley Park. You can click on that link, it will download it. And here you go to Barefoot's home learning page, scroll down to the bottom, and you click on the diamond, okay? And that is where you play. And it's all about logic and algorithms, just as our Cipher is an algorithm. So here I've got some example number sequences, and let's think about how we might crack these. And when I say crack them, we need to work out what the rule is, the algorithm, and then make a prediction of the next number. So let's have a look at this first one. Well, I can start by finding what the difference is between the first two numbers. So it's increasing in value. So I'm going to do 21 take away 15. Well, I know that that difference is 6. Now, before I just jump and say, well, this must be 6 as well, I want to evaluate as well. Another computational thinking skill. I want to check using this second one. Is the difference 6? 21 plus 6, 27. Yes, it is. Now I feel more confident. I'm using my reasoning skills to work out what the rule is. The rule equals add 6. So I would be fairly confident if Dr Mischief gave me that number sequence on one of his safes to say the next number would be 33. Okay. Now let's have a look at the next one here. What is the algorithm for this one? Slightly different this one because I can see it's decreasing. So let's again start by checking what the difference is. The difference 25 to 33, 5, 6, 7, 8. Shall I just jump and say it's 9? No, let's evaluate and check. 25 to 17, yes. That difference is 8. Now I'm more confident. I reckon that I'm going to take away. Let's make these a bit clearer. It's been a long time since I've taught maths. -8, -8. So I reckon that number would be 9. Okay, so the rule here, and let's call it what it should be. Algorithm equals -8. And then finally, you might find that some of the number sequences on Dr Mischief's layer are a little bit tricky, involving things like decimals. So here we can apply the same logic. We can find the difference. So the difference here, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going, it's 1 whole unit and 5/10 to 2 and 3/10. So 5/10 would make it up to 2, and another 3/10 is adding 8/10.8. Let me check again on this. If I add on 0.8, 8/10, 7/10 would take me up to 3, and another 10th, 3.1. Yes, feeling confident about this one as well. I think the algorithm is add on 8/10, so I think that next number would be 3.9. Okay, so can you see here how we've used lots of computational thinking? We're using logic, we're evaluating to check our algorithm is right, and we're finding our algorithm by spotting, importantly, the pattern, that what is the difference between all of these numbers. So with that refresher training, agent training, your task for today is, there's 3 things actually. 1, have a go at the Cipher, the Caesar wheel Cipher. So download that. Even if you don't download it and you can't print it out, you can produce something like that. You can even do it as 2 long strips of the letters A to Z, and just move them along. I want you to have a go at completing the diamond. And also, even though today I was talking mainly about the diamond activity, lots of what we've covered today is also in the Barefoot code cracking. Let me show you on here, code cracking activity as well. So this activity here talks to you a little bit more about the Cipher, the Caesar wheel, and you actually use that in a game to help the code crackers at Bletchley Park. So we've got great links today to 2 of the Barefoot home learning games. So go and have a go at both of those, and have a go at building your own Cipher wheel. Okay, finally then, before I say cheerio, let's come back to the riddle. And Shane, just in time, you emailed me this morning just before I went live, and you managed to come in with the right answer, as did Amber and Lexi, but that's it. Those are the only people that got the right answer to the riddle from last week. The riddle was, what has branches but no leaves or a trunk? And the answer is banks. You have different branches of banks. So well done to Amber and Lexi, and well done to Shane. And the riddle that I am going to leave you with today, and I will tell you the answer to this tomorrow, is this. I'm tall when I'm young, and I'm short when I'm old. What am I? I'll say that one more time. And by the way, if you look very closely at what you are looking at now, there might be a clue. I'm tall when I'm young and I'm short when I'm old. What am I? Send your answers to the email. Send me pictures to the email of you having a go at the diamond activity, having a go at the Caesar wheel, and I will get those on the Showcase blog. I will see you at 10 o'clock tomorrow for Wonder Wednesday with some biomimicry that I can't really say, so that will be interesting. Have a lovely day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.